Okay, this is 2014 Ram 5.7 liter Hemi, 70,000 miles, cold startup. And that terrible ticking noise you just heard is the result of at least one that I'm aware of broken exhaust stud on the passenger side. And so I've gathered all my parts, and it was an excuse to buy a couple of new tools just in case. And once I move this thing around and it cools off, we're going to hopefully show you how to fix it. And if I can see anything interesting on the stud, maybe come up with a theory as to why this seems to be such a common failure with these engines. I've had quite a few Hemis. This is my first one in probably 400,000 miles of Hemi driving that has done this, but I see a lot of it on the forums. It's quite a few YouTube videos showing how to fix it. It's just the first one that's happened to me. At first I thought it was, because it started off kind of more subtle than that, I thought it was the MDS system starting to fail, but thank goodness that seems to be in good working order. And I know I've got one broken stud because I can feel it. And doesn't matter, I've got a full set of replacement bolts as well as a new gasket. So once this cools off, we're going to tackle it. Well, here we are the next morning. Engine is completely cold, or however cold it can be for southern Louisiana in mid-August. But first thing you got to do is take out the inner fender well, which has 7 8mm screws and 3 or 4 pop plugs, plus this thing is hooked to it, is pushed into it on the back, so you gotta get that off of there without tearing it up. One thing I found is that in this area here, I mean, I know I have mud flaps on it, but I don't know that it makes much difference. Behind the ear there was a whole bunch of mud, so that might be something that y'all in the north want to do occasionally, is get back in there with a spray gun or something and wash that out, get that salt out of there, because that seems to be a spot where stuff's going to collect. I'm going to figure out how to see if there's any way I can seal that up a little bit better, because I mean that's a whole bunch of dirt. that was behind there. I'm going to pull the other one off to see if it's as bad too, just since I know it now. But I've got my light in here, so it's taking up a little room. There's the manifold. And basically what you end up doing is, I think you got about 9 of these bolts, 4 with the stud, 5 without. The ones with the stud are what hold this heat shield on. And you got these 2 here for this ball and socket for the catalytic converter that have to come off. And then the manifold falls off. Now, this is how easy it is to find, at least on mine, the broken stud. That should be attached to something. So we have an exhaust leak, and that's what's been going on. I don't know if any of the other ones are broke. There's one missing here too. Holy shit. Just put my finger up in there and there is no stud right here. So I have at least 2 of them broken. That'll be pleasant, I'm sure. Unless there's not one there. There may not be one there, but it kind of looks like there certainly would be, but we'll find out as we go. Anyway, I'm going to finish getting set up, and then we're going to start some disassembly. Okay. So these that hold the shield on are 10 millimeter. I put a little bit of PB blaster on the big flange bolts, and a little bit on these. Try to go gentle on this, because I said in the introduction it's only got just under 70,000 miles on it. I really don't want to screw it up, because it's been a good truck, and still a good truck. Just these Hemis have a couple of flaws. It appears that these exhaust manifold bolts are one of them. I'm really hoping I only have one bolt to get out, because I am not a fan of removing broken studs. But I don't remember what's under this thing, because, well, I've never seen what's under it, so we'll find out when we get this off. Pain in the ass. Well, there she is. That's one. And if you can see it, get my light. That certainly is 2. That's fantastic. So, that's what we got. 2 studs that are broken off and need to come out. I'm kind of glad I bought a whole set now. What's amazing to me is that these only have a torque spec of 18 foot-pounds, and yet we're cracking them like this. So, I don't know. It's silly. What kind of bums me out is that they have Loctite on them from the factory. My new bolts have Loctite on them, which means these have Loctite on them, which means I'm probably not going to get lucky and just have them fall out when I get this manifold off. But we will do our best to see what we can come up with. I guess now I will try to get those back two big bolts off of that ball, that socket connection back here, and then we'll go from there. Please don't break. That one's moving. Rock. Well, at least this is coming out nicely. It's kind of a weird little setup, so you don't want to lose your nut clip because it's not held in there terribly well. And that's all it is. Little piece of tin. Bolt goes through, and then that's it. But simple enough. Okay. So now lube up and attempt to remove, without breaking, I hope, the rest of the exhaust manifold studs. Well, the small ones are 10s. The big ones are 14s. 13s, that is. Oh my God, that scares me. Wow. That doesn't make me feel good. That came out, it started stiff. Once it broke loose, it's moving real good. But whoa, I'm not happy about how the amount of force that was required to get that thing to go. Wow, that's gonna be something. That's gonna be something. That was a Loctite. I'm hoping that between a little bit of fire and ice, I can limit. There's one of them. There's two. Three. There's the big ones. Oh boy. Oh boy, these ones in the back, those are going to be bad. Getting that Loctite to break is going to be something. Once it breaks, it's not bad. And I have a feeling I'm drilling these out, as I don't see that there's any way that I'm not drilling those out, unless they're sticking out a 1/4 inch, which is highly doubtful. Yeah, my guess is The ones in the back run hotter, which is why those are the ones that seem to break. I'm glad. Then again, I'm not. I guess I wish I'd realized what was going on when the first one went, so I didn't have two to do now. But such is life. Man, these are pretty rusty. And really stretched. I mean, it almost looks like there's a measurable neck on these bolts. Oh, nope. Got one more here. Wonder why she wasn't moving. Wondered why she wasn't moving. And that's it. Yeah, the leak was on the back side. Let's see if we can show you. There's two different ones. You can see here there's no exhaust. And this one here, you see all that black. So it was definitely blowing out the back side. And you can also see, I think, on the head itself where it had completely lost its seal there. Oh, thank goodness, that's not a bolt. Huh. That top one is not a bolt. So it is just this top one in the rear, and much to my chagrin, but I guess dead on to my expectations, it is broken off underneath the surface of my nice pretty aluminum head. So I don't have a chance in hell of doing anything but drilling that out. But now we're going to take a quick break because it's starting to get hot, and then I'm going to show you my tools that I bought for just this occasion. Alright, here's something else that's kind of wild to me. Obviously this stud broke off by itself, but this is how it came out. Look at that. It was cracked in two places. It was cracked at the top too, or at the shoulder, which is pretty weird. I'm thinking that, I don't know that they had a batch of bad bolts, because I just don't know. But if I were to guess, the machine that they used to torque these on all at once had a bad tension monitor, or whatever the hell they use there to control how tight, or the torque. So that would be my guess, because that's weird. Alternatively, it could be related to this. This was the thing that was holding the heat shield on, and you can see maybe how shiny that is. It came off hard, almost as if it was cross-threaded. I'm going to have to chase that with a tap before I try to put that back on so it doesn't screw up the new one. Maybe that's what got them, is when this thing was fine, but when they put this on, it ended up transferring so much torque over to this, it over-torqued it. Either way, problems with that stud all the way in the back. Yeah, so you can compare them, a good one with the one I just took off. Something was wrong with that. And even look at the flats on the one that was broken. See how they barked up? It didn't come off that hard. It didn't come out any harder than any of the other ones. They over-torqued the crap out of that back bolt. That was an assembly problem. I'm sorry, but that was a damn assembly problem. So what are my new tools? Well, added a right angle drill to my Milwaukee 18 volt stuff. Got a nice new set of real stubby little bits and a new screw extractor set. Then this stuff isn't really a tool, but I'm going to try to use some heat and some really cold to see if it's possible to make that come out a little easier, to break that damn Loctite. Because once it started moving, after about half a turn, it was moving pretty well. It was no real issue. But that first half a turn, I'm really worried about breaking that screw extractor off when I get to it. These are the parts. 5 new bolts, 5 new bolts with studs, and the exhaust manifold. They're very common. Exhaust manifold gasket. You probably don't have to replace the gasket, but with the amount of leaking that the thing was doing, and really looking at it, let's put this one right next to it. Look at the difference here and there in the rise of these ceiling bumps. These are damn near flat now. This gasket's trash. There's no way you should reuse that gasket when you're doing this job. Look at that. And the other thing is, this is like $15. It's not terribly cheap. This and all of these bolts were under 40 bucks, including shipping. So why would you, I mean, if you're going to take this thing apart, why would you go back with junk? Why would you risk, using this shit again? Who knows how it was put in? You already got one that's like that. Might as well just do it all right. Change all your parts. Okay, well, we're going to try to do this right. I'm going to try to prick punch that thing in the center as best I can. That valve's open, of course. So I'm going to get a little piece of paper towel to stick down in there to maybe keep shit from falling in it. Don't need to have any more metal in the engine than necessary. That's pretty close. Not great. These punches are terrible. I don't know why I bought a set that isn't hardened. Something else you should use, obviously, lubricant. This is just a thread cutting oil. I prefer rapid tap, but that stuff's hard to find and I don't have any. WD-40, I've seen people use. This stuff, I'm just going to put a little in a container. I can dump the drill bit in it. And we're going to go to work. Wish me luck. Now comes the silly part. Hopefully with that bit of heat, a little bit of this stuff, trying to do here, this is a chill spray Trying to shrink that bad boy just a little bit. Just a little bit. I don't have a damn tap handle. Oh, she's turning. She's turning. Oh yeah. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Woo! That's the first time in my life I've ever been able to do that successfully. Ever. Wow. Wow. And it's clean. I did not muck up the threads. Good son, that's a good deal. That's a good deal. And now, just to clean it a little bit, put it back together. There it is. The stud. And you can still see some of the Loctite on it. It came out pretty smooth. It did not take a lot of torque to get it to start moving, and I knew once it started moving I was good. See, I wasn't quite centered, but I didn't get it into the threads as far as my easy out went. But I'll take that as a win any day, because I can now put it back together with some nice new bolts with the right torque spec and my new gasket, and hopefully we'll never have to diddle around with this again. So that's coming up next.